Hey everybody, it's Rachel. Welcome back to the channel. There is a difference between choosing peace and being mistaken for somebody who won't defend it. I don't like bullies. I don't think most of us do. So it's worth asking, why do we keep tolerating them? I have been noticing something that's been annoying the hell out of me lately. First, there's a lot more of them. And second, we're all being expected to just take it. Stay polite, stay agreeable, stay quiet, even when someone's talking over us, pushing past basic respect, or acting like that's just normal now. Not just online, everywhere. And I want to talk about that because there's this thinking that if you try to live from a grounded philosophical place, you're supposed to just ignore it and to keep your mind right. I don't agree. If you're trying to look at life these days from a philosophical perspective, Buddhism doesn't teach you to absorb disrespect. Stoicism doesn't teach you to tolerate bad behavior. And Taoism definitely doesn't say, let people walk all over you. They teach self-mastery, not self-erasure. They teach that you don't have to become aggressive to deal with aggression. But they also don't say that you have to pretend it isn't happening. When someone thinks you're calm, sometimes they assume you're weak. When you're kind, they assume you'll tolerate more than you should. When you don't immediately push back, they assume you're not going to. And that assumption is where bullying starts and grows. A lot of us were raised, directly or indirectly, to smooth things over, to keep the peace. Don't make it worse. Don't escalate. And sometimes that's a good idea. But sometimes what gets called keeping the peace is really just keeping everyone else comfortable while disrespect goes unchecked. I'm honestly a little disgusted by how much of this we're tolerating right now. Not just from the loudest voices out there, but from the way it trickles down into everyday interactions. At work, in families, in public spaces, in conversations. There is more intimidation, more posturing, and more boundary testing. And too many decent, steady people feel like the safest move is to just stay quiet and hope it passes. From a Buddhist perspective, yeah, a bully is usually acting from insecurity, fear, or ignorance. Fine. But you can understand that without willingly being their target. From a Stoic perspective, you don't control their behavior, but you do control whether you just stand there and accept it as normal. From a Taoist perspective, water is soft, but it also reshapes stone. It yields, but it does not surrender its nature. Calm does not mean compliant. Compassion doesn't mean permissive. And inner peace does not mean outer silence. We're living in a moment right now where bullying and intimidation are being modeled in incredibly visible ways. And some people think it gives them permission to act in ways they might have kept hidden before. You can feel it and see it in the tone of conversations, in how people speak to each other, and how quickly respect disappears when someone thinks they can get away with it. And a lot of grounded, thoughtful people are still being told the same thing they've always been told. Ignore it. Rise above it. Don't engage. Sometimes that's the right move, but sometimes silence just tells the bully the behavior works. There is a way to stand up without becoming what you're standing up to. You don't need to match volume with volume. You don't need to escalate. You don't need to puff up your chest and make a big show of it. But you can look someone in the eye, metaphorically or literally, and make it clear. No, not here, not with me. Sometimes that just sounds like that's not okay. We're not doing this. And then you decide what the moment calls for. Sometimes you disengage. Sometimes you remove yourself from the situation. And sometimes you stay exactly where you are and you don't budge. You stand your ground and let them know this isn't right. Calmly, clearly, but without apology. That is not aggression. That is self-respect. And I know it can feel like you're just one person, like standing up calmly won't make much of a difference, but it does. Even one steady person in a room changes the tone. Someone sees it, someone registers it, someone realizes they're not alone. I am not a big or intimidating person, but standing steady does not require size. It just requires clarity. And sometimes all it takes is one person who's clearly not indifferent for other people to remember that they don't have to be either. I get it. sometimes we stay quiet because we don't want to make waves, or we'll worry about the reaction we'll get. That's real. But at some point, just watching it happen stops being a neutral choice. And this isn't just about us individually. It's also about those moments when we see someone else being talked over or pushed around. Most of us have been in that position, noticing something's off and not quite knowing whether to step in. But when we say nothing while we or someone else is being pushed around, we unintentionally give it a stamp of approval and help make it feel normal. Being grounded doesn't mean being passive. Being kind doesn't mean becoming a target. Being calm doesn't mean being available for disrespect. You can be compassionate and still draw a line. You can be peaceful and still be firm. You can refuse to bully anyone and also refuse to be bullied or draw a line when you see it. And frankly, I think more of us need to start doing that, calmly, steadily, without theatrics. Because when intimidation starts to feel normal, quiet strength becomes a form of resistance for our daughters, our sons, our friends, our families, our neighbors, each other. You don't have to turn into someone you're not. You don't have to be loud or aggressive if that's not your nature. But you also don't have to make yourself small so other people feel comfortable being jerks. Peace isn't passive, and calm isn't consent. Sometimes the most grounded thing you can do is stand there, steady and unmovable, and let people realize we are not the easy targets they thought we were, and being a bully is not okay. Let me know what you think. Am I way off base? Thanks for watching. Take care of you, and I will see you the next time. Bye-bye.